Today is the final exam. You haven't been doing in your class so go well, and this is the last exam and the last chance you have to see if you can pass. So you spend the whole night cramming everything in, trying to memorize as much as you can. But it brings up the question, are you really getting the enough education that you need? Being myself as a college student, as a student in general, I won't lie, I myself in the past, I don't think I've cheated on tests, but I have copied homework not because I'm trying to learn, but because it's important that you want to pass. But just because you have the importance of passing does not mean that it should blind you from any other priorities. For example, learning the material. See, for myself personally, I believe that school isn't about that. To me, it seems like school is not always about passing, but it's about learning, and that people are not getting the full education that they need to. So today I will discuss the problems of why this happens and some causes and some possible solutions. So problems. According to NBC, 1 in 5 students usually end up stressing up over school. Usually that leads to usually leads to dropping out, that some students even consider suicide, or that usually causes problems in your health. So maybe you spend up all night studying, you're not getting the recommended sleep hours, and then that leads to sleep deprivation. Some people get loss of motivation to go to school because of how it seems to them in the way they're learning. Also, according to Richard Fry, on an article published October 2nd, 2014, that 7% of 18 through 24-year-olds usually end up dropping out of school. So although the number has decreased from 12% in 2002, that has been a decrease in 5%, it's still, I believe, basically important that everyone gets the proper education that they should. So now that I've discussed the problems, I will now say some of the causes. So according to the National Sleep Foundation, teens should sleep 8 through 10 hours. And when they took a survey, only 15% of those students were sleeping the 8.5 hours. So only 15% of those students were sleeping the recommended time. So when you don't sleep, that obviously causes you to not pay attention in school. Maybe you're falling asleep. Maybe you're just thinking about wanting to sleep. You start daydreaming or wishing that you were in a better location. And then also, according to PBS, on an article published on June 2nd, 2014, that freshmen are the most affected by lack of sleep loss as in comparison to underclassmen. So the first year in going to college, people are usually not getting enough sleep. And that's bad because usually after that, if the studies are true, then it gets easier sleep-wise after the freshman year. So if students can just try to push through as much as they can through the first year, the most likely it'll go downhill after that. And also, according to a website of Lyme Science, 2 out of 3 students are bored. 30% usually are lack because they don't interact with the teacher. And 75% is because the material is not interesting enough. So obviously, there's some problems there that students are bored during school, so they're not paying attention during lectures because it's not interesting to them, or they feel that it's no topic necessary, or that they feel that they're not connected with the teachers, or might not feel like in a friendly enough environment. Solutions. First of all, it's important for time management because, yes, it's important because education is important because it will be good for your job. Because some people, they just try to cram everything in late night, and it's not bad because it is important to pass. That, don't get me wrong, that's the major thing, but also don't forget that learning is also important because one day in your profession, you might need what you're learning today, even if it doesn't seem as valuable. So then personally, people should try to time management or try to engage in school programs. So going to a professor's office hours, or as here in Cal State LA, we have the Career Center where you can go and see if you're not sure about your career. So the help is being offered here, so it's up to the student themselves to engage in their community of school. And then also, it's important just to learn the material because you never know if one day, say for my example, I'm an engineer, and if I forget a physics concept that would have been great for something I was building, that could probably lead into the deaths of millions or cause some problems, which could either lead to suing of the company or in just problems as say someone getting injured. What? Oh no, my bad. Yeah. So school isn't always about isn't always about passing, but it is about learning too. So today I discussed the problems that we have with that, some possible causes and solutions. So all in all, education is important, and that it is important that we learn the material because you never know what you might need in your future job. So you don't want to be the person that ends up screwing over the company, or if you're like a counselor and you end up giving someone the wrong advice. So you don't want to forget what you learned, because it is important to the world itself, because you do give back to the community, and you didn't like spend like 4 or 5 years of your life or even more just to end up like losing a company millions of dollars or end up killing or injuring someone's life. And that school itself, as I said one more time, school is about passing, don't get me wrong, because you do want to pass, but you also have to learn. But don't forget to balance it, because school is not also just about learning, you also want to pass. So, thank you.